Hello and welcome back to the category mistake. I am trying some new things today, so let me know how any of it looks or sounds for y'all. Today I'm going to talk about our weekend and how the expectations of what was going to happen, what actually happened, changed dramatically, and how we grew together as a couple, and how I learned some new things about my wife. So, welcome back. I'm Richard Mariello, of course, and I was supposed to take my wife to Canada this weekend. But on Thursday, I found out some paperwork that I had done to get authorization to go to Canada was not done correctly for the state that I live in. So, I did the paperwork correctly. I filed it in January, but the state of Maine never processed it, and they didn't start processing it till Thursday. So I found out Thursday that they hadn't done it. It had been sitting on their desk for basically 6 months. No one had done anything with it. They kind of just forgot. So if you don't know, a long time ago, back in the 90s, I had done some dumb things, and basically I had gotten banned from going to Canada. And because of that, these people in this picture and we tried to go to Canada in 2012, and I was turned away at the border. I was turned away to the border because I had two criminal offenses. One of which was stealing food, not food, it was toothbrush, toothpaste, soap when I was homeless from my local grocery store. And the other one was me and my sister got into an argument and I pushed her basically outside. Police were called. I paid a fine. Two infractions like that are deemed inadmissible in Canada unless you get one sealed or you get a pardon. Well, I tried to get one sealed, the misdemeanor theft, but I couldn't get that sealed because the theft happened before the altercation with my sister. So I can't get the first one sealed until I get the second one taken care of. I filed a pardon application January 27th. They told me they took care of it, and I found out on basically June 27th it was not taken care of. So, of course, I didn't go to Canada. Instead, I took my wife to Connecticut, and we had a nice weekend zip lining, go karting, other things. But she was disappointed. Now, here's the thing that I found out. I found out on Thursday that I didn't know my wife as well as I thought I did. Now, we have been married for 30 years. We have a bunch of kids. We've lived a pretty good life. We've had our ups, our downs, and everything in between. But I've always tried to figure out why certain things um, really hurt her more when they don't happen. So I've called her a lot of times Negative Nancy or whatever, Debbie Downer. And I've always thought, why does she get so worked up when something doesn't happen the way she wants it to? So she said something on Thursday night, which finally clicked in. We are on uh, a gaming time with two of our friends from Virginia, and she had explained how, as a kid, she would basically wait at the window for her mom to come pick her up, and a lot of times her mother wouldn't come pick her up. And because of that, she got heartbroken. So she stopped expecting good things for herself. Now, I've been married to her for 30 years and I never heard that story. Now, maybe she told me and I forgot, or maybe she told me and I didn't listen because something else was going on. But I don't ever remember hearing that story. And because when she said it, it finally hit me that all these years, every time something goes wrong, she just goes back to that kid that her mom didn't come and get her. Her mom didn't love her enough to pick her up. Now, her and her mom have a much better relationship now. But at the time, it was probably a lot for her to grasp that her mom would promise to come get her and wouldn't. And then it started making me think of all the years that we've been together and all the strange things that happen and her reactions to them. Now, we were supposed to go to Canada. That was planned. Everything was good. I had everything worked out, and then it crashed at the last second. I didn't do anything wrong except for tell her we were going to Canada. So I told her from now on, I'm not going to tell her we're just going to go. But this weekend, I didn't tell her what we were doing. I just said we were going. So I drove her there. I did activities. The only thing I told her about was Friday night. I did tell her they were going zip lining on Sunday because I have her sign a waiver. So that was kind of important. The rest of it, I just kind of planned and didn't tell her, and it turned out to be a good weekend. And that's because she had no expectations, so there's nothing I could do to diminish them or hurt her. And I feel bad because I've told her for years, I've not made fun of her, but I've said things like, why are you always so down about things? And why can't you just roll with the punches? And after she said that to me, I realized it's a response she learned all those years ago as a kid. And that's the way she deals with it now. Now, I had the same type of deal, I guess, except my parents never gave me much. The only time I expected things was I expected things from my dad and from my uncle Tony and from a few others, but they usually came through. Uh, my dad sent, I went down there for a whole summer with him, and he spent a lot of time with me, and that was exactly what I needed, and he did it. So that was a positive. But my mother never really offered anything positive, so I didn't expect anything. But Lynn probably grew up in a household where other people fulfilled what they were supposed to do. And the one person she wanted to fulfill things, her mother didn't do it. Or when she did it was very dramatic or very out of line. And when Thursday happened to me, my anxiety went through the roof. It went through the roof because I felt, okay, she's going to be angry. She's going to be pissed off. She's going to blame me. I was feeling bad for me. Good, better. I was feeling bad for me. Then she said that when we were talking to friends, and I started thinking, I'm being selfish here. I was feeling bad for me when the trip was for her. This whole trip was because of her. I planned it for her. What we were going to do was for her. Yet I was worried about me. I was worried about what was going to happen to me, not about what was going to happen to her. And that's a crazy thing to think of because when you do something for somebody, if it's a party or a gift or anything, a charity event, you shouldn't think, "Hey, what about me? What am I getting out of this, or what's positive for me?" I didn't do that with this trip because I'd spent so long to plan it, because I had spent so much of my own energy to make it work. I had started thinking of this as my trip. I started thinking that this is my stuff. And it isn't. I planned this for her. Just like we were supposed to go to a Billy Joel concert. I got tickets, really close, sixth row back, beautiful tickets. Then something happened to Billy Joel, and he's not going to be able to perform for like 2 years. And she thinks she's jinxed. It kind of difficult to say that she isn't sometimes. The big things I don't believe in jinxes, but it's starting to feel that way a little bit. And so that happened. That was one of my gifts to her. My other gift was going to Canada. So the last two gifts I've given her have failed miserably. And it hurts. It hurts her. It hurts me. It hurts me because I feel like I'm failing her. But it hurts her more because these are things that she's always wanted to do and they've been ripped away from her. I had nothing to do with Billy Joel. I cannot control Billy Joel and what's going on in his brain. I can't control his health. The Canada thing, I did everything in my control. I can't control what the state of Maine does. But she's not going to go and yell at Billy Joel, and she's not going to go yell at the state of Maine. She's going to get upset with me, and I completely understand that. But I still felt like this whole trip is ruined, and what am I going to do? It really wasn't about me, it was about her. And that's something I've been realizing more and more with my anxiety and my stress and my depression is when I get in these states of anxiety, stress, and depression, I I see the world around me, but I only see how it affects me. I see how it affects my day-to-day activities, my day-to-day life, my day-to-day stress, my day-to-day whatever, not always seeing how it affects the people around me. Um, this weekend affected my wife. It affected my wife because she had finally thought in her mind, okay, I'm going to go where my grandmother came from. I'm going to see it. I'm going to do it. I can't wait. And then it was pulled from her at the last minute. Her grandmother was her person. Everyone has a person. That was her person. And um, being pulled away from her like that, I think really shook her. And I get that. I get that more now than I ever did. The next thing that I realized this weekend is our expectations never go the way they're supposed to. They can go better, they can go worse, but they're never that way. You expect a weekend or anytime, your wedding, a trip, uh, a special event, you always expect something, and it never goes that way, right? But see, here's where my anxiety and stress come. Um, I could have a weekend that I expect to go okay, and it goes great, and I still get stressed about it because it could have gone even better. Or it could go miserable, and I could be stressed out because what did I do to make it screw up? I blame myself for all the negative parts of a weekend. If it rains when it's not supposed to, I don't control the weather. If a store is closed, even though it says it's open, I blame myself for that. And I don't know how many other people do this, but I put the entire trip on my stress anxiety list. I've talked about how I went on a cruise before, and on the cruise, if something went wrong, I blamed myself. I took the burden of everything on that vacation, if it went wrong or didn't go correct, as being my fault. I did the same thing when we went to Italy and when we went to other places. Every time we go somewhere, if it doesn't go right, or if she doesn't have a good time, or the kids don't have a perfect time, it's my fault. I did something wrong. Now, that's not reality, right? That's not reality at all. Reality is things go wrong on vacation. Things go wrong when you're driving to the doctor's office. Things go wrong when you're working. Things go wrong when you're sleeping. Things go wrong everywhere. Uh, but when I was growing up, I always felt kind of like my wife does. I felt a little jinx. Now, my jinxes were a little different. I felt almost cursed. So a lot of weird things would happen and they were always on days that were important in my mind. My birthday, bad things happened, from stock market crashes to the Tiananmen Square. Um, Things like I'd have a beautiful day planned out, or my graduation, or uh, time out with the family, or I'm going to see my dad this weekend and the weather's miserable, or we're gonna go wait out in line to see Return of the Jedi and it starts pouring. Every time I had something big going on in my life, something would go wrong, and I'd automatically think to myself, what did I do wrong? What did I do? This year, I was watching basketball and a player blew out his Achilles, and I blamed myself. What did I do to jinx this player to hurt himself? It's not logical. And I know we all have that. I know for a fact there are people that watch this podcast that feel like, what did I do that made my parents do this? Or what did I do that made my grades like this? Or what did I do that made this boy not love me? Or this girl not love me? Or this girl loved me? Or this boy loved me? What did I do that made them want me? Or what did I do that made them not want me? A lot of times we do nothing. Um, Other people's feelings cannot be controlled by what we do. Others people's actions normally cannot be controlled by what we do. I love my wife. If you've ever heard me say this, you're going to hear it 100 more times. But my stress and anxiety doesn't change how she feels about me. Now, does she get annoyed by me? Yes. Does she still love me? Absolutely. Does my quirks, the way I do things, the way I act, the way I present myself, does it bother her? Probably. Does she still love me? Yes. See, you can have, oh, that person annoys me, but I love them. And that's kind of how you feel about when you have kids or dogs or cats or any kind of pet or girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. Um, it's all the same. If if the love is there and you truly love them and you truly respect them, they're going to have times where they annoy you, but nothing you can do other than, physically hurt them or something like that. Nothing you can do should change the way they feel about you. And I've hurt my wife and I've hurt other people, and she still loves me. Now, has she had times where she questioned that, most likely. Uh, but that's okay because she's still here. She's still pushing. And that's what I learned this weekend is my wife was frustrated. She had high expectations. I promised high things, good things, and it fell through. Not for any fault of my own, but it still fell through. And I learned she was hurt with that so much as a kid that to really be to make her really truly happy with all expectations, I'd have to be perfect, and I'm not perfect. So now the next thing is for her and I have that discussion on figuring out the best way to deal with her expectations versus reality. Her expectations versus um, not just reality, but common sense. You know, I can't control everything. Like we could have gotten to the border and I was clear, but then the president and Canada decided not to like each other and we could be turned away for that. Nothing I can do about it, right? She'd still be hurt. She'd still be upset. I can't take that part of our relationship or any relationship personally. On that note, I know I don't meet the expectations of my children or my friends or my fellow old students or my spouse or anybody like that. I know I don't. Uh, but what I want to make sure is that even if I don't meet their expectations, um, I want them to at least know that I'm trying, that I'm putting effort in. If I fail, but I've given 100% effort and I've tried everything, I'm okay with that. I used to tell my kids that, in school. If you try your best and you fail, you tried your best. If you didn't try your best and you failed, and I ask you, hey, did you give it a your all? And you said, no, not really. I didn't care that much. Um, I'm going to be angry about it because you didn't try. Every day I wake up and I try to be better from my ADHD to my anxiety to my stress to the way I love my wife to the way I love my kids to the way I do things. And some days I think I do pretty well. And other days, well, I fail. But I will continue to keep trying. And that's the point of the whole thing, um, is I'm going to keep pushing. Now, to end this, my last podcast, video cast on Thursday, I got a lot of responses. I got a lot of responses because I think people who haven't watched everything don't know what's going on with my mental state. I am safe. I know I am valued in this world. I know that people feel I'm important. I do. Um, what I don't and what I struggle with is feeling like I matter to myself as much as I matter to everybody else. Let me rephrase that. I have a struggle knowing where I belong in the world that I live in. You see, I feel like I can be replaced. I feel like I can be uh it's there's other people who can do what I do. I'm not a valued member of the team. And sometimes I feel that way. Now, I know I'm valued. I know I'm a good member of the team and all that jargon. But, when you're on your lows, when you're having a day, when you're just feeling blah, uh, you don't always feel like you matter and or that you're important enough that someone will be upset if you're not here. Does that mean I'm going to go end my life? No. Does that mean I'm going to do something stupid and violent? No. It just means sometimes I feel invisible or not needed, or I feel like I can be replaced by anybody. And that's a little scary for me. But every day is a new day. Every day is a new turn. Every day is a new challenge. Every day is a new chance to do more, to feel better about myself, and to just be a better human. Till tomorrow, y'all. Thank you all for watching and have a beautiful